Well, good evening to my American family. I've had the concept for Urban Porch now for probably 18 months. It derived from the meetings I've had with my friends at Starbucks. And really, how it happened was for the last 4 or 5 years, we would all see each other and say hi and wave to each other. And that wave became a hello, and the hello became a quick chat. And then the quick chat became a longer chat. And before you knew it, 3 or 4 of us were all sitting together, really enjoying each other's company. And what came from it was the idea that if 10, 8, 6, however many of us were in a room or in a Starbucks, and believe it or not, we'd get there at let's say 6:30 after maybe working out or grabbing coffee before work. We would sit there for maybe, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And we would talk about day events. We would talk about things that were happening in our lives. We would talk about pretty much anything that was just sort of on our minds. It could be work, it could be whatever. And we were just sitting there one day and we were joking because it seemed like no matter what problem we brought up, we were able to solve it. And because we were able to solve it, we started asking ourselves, why is our country so messed up right now? Why is it that people can't solve problems? Why is it that we have a government that perpetuates problems and doesn't solve problems? As you can see from my video, I am of a later generation. I grew up through the 60s. I spent my time in Ohio and Chicago, moved over to San Francisco, and now residing down in Orange County, California. The things that I witnessed, went through, were just very, very interesting to me. And the thing that's sad is that they're still here today. And that's the frustration. And again, some of the motivation of why I'm embarking on this Urban Porch um, podcast. And I chose today Memorial Day for multiple reasons as well. You think about Memorial Day and you think about over 1 million men and women who have died in the service of our country. And I have an uncle who died in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II, 18 years old. So that means this is a person that went to war to do the right thing. And, he died. And he, like I said, 18 years old, never had a girlfriend, never had a drink in a bar, never got a chance to go to college, never a chance to get married, never got, those chances that hopefully most of us will get a chance to do. And then you think about my dad. He fought in World War II. He was in the Pacific Theater. I think about my grandfather, who's buried in Arlington. I think about my other grandfather, who immigrated from Italy and fought as a Marine in World War I, along with my other grandfather, who's as I said, in Arlington. And you start wondering, when is the right time to start to do the right thing? And I guess I chose today. Because like I said, this has been in my mind for quite some time. And the people at Starbucks that helped generate and spawn this idea, I give credit to. And they're my friends. They're people I enjoy. They're people I hang out with. And again, they're people that are very different, both in economics and education, both in gender, both in age. And that's the best part of it. Because when we all get together and we all talk about a subject and we all talk about our opinions, at the end of it all, we're able to find a problem and identify a problem and find a solution. And what frustrates me is that our government has forgotten what their job is. And the job is to serve us and provide us a better life and provide us more security and provide us opportunity, not them, us. And I think we need to really go back and think about we as a community coming together, we as a community sitting together, we as a family coming together and deciding we need, want, deserve these things. And we as a group, as a family, get our government to act according to our needs, not their needs. And when you look at how they're acting today, they have done exactly what they needed to do. What I mean by that is they have taken us and they have divided us into every small group that we possibly could be broken into. They have got us fighting with each other. They have got us arguing with each other. They have got us with not trusting each other. They've got us, blaming each other. And they've got us calling each other out on every difference that we can find or that they can find. So at the end of the day, they have done a really good job of screwing us over. So this purpose, again, of this podcast is to bring us all together as one group, one voice, and come back to our government and make a request that they start doing what we need them to do. And there's so many subjects there, and there's so many topics there. And I think what I'd love to see happen here with Urban Porch is to basically grow the relationships that we have at our Starbucks and, find a way for everybody to start working in their community with their friends, with their neighbors, and start looking at how they can bring solutions to the government and start driving forward an agenda that makes sense. I think there's a couple things that people are going to not like. One of those will be you can't be self-centered. You're not going to get everything you want, nor should you. I think in the words of Keith Richards, and if you don't know who he is, that's unfortunate. Look him up, listen to some of their music. It's called the Rolling Stones. He said, when I'm at a concert, I get from the audience and I give to the audience. And he said, in life, it's about giving and getting. You don't always get what you want and you don't always give what you're supposed to. But bottom line is, it's a mutual relationship. And I think here we are today, again, talking about a mutual relationship. You can't win. You can't have everything you want. Nobody can. That's just not life. So we need to start looking at what we all can win, what we all can benefit from, and what we all could do. And whatever that is, that's where we need to start. Now, as I said earlier, as a child of the 60s, for me, there's two things that, we always heard, act local, think global. We need to do that. We need to start with our local government, our local community, our local town, our local friends, our local neighbors, and we need to start working together and pushing forward an agenda that makes sense. The other thing I always heard is, the solution to pollution is dilution, but we know that's wrong. So in other podcasts, we'll talk about environment, but these are the things that, bother me the most. And I'm sure they bother more than just me. And that's purpose again for this discussion. And what I hope is that this podcast gets other communities to sit together and start talking to their neighbors, start talking to their friends, and start talking about common need, common solution, common opportunity, and stop pointing fingers at each other and saying, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, or you did this, or Republicans did that, or Democrats did this, or, they didn't do this, or they did too much of that, whatever it is. That doesn't get us anywhere. So that gets back to TV. Turn the damn things off. Do not watch TV. Do not spend your time watching TV. It is toxic to yourself and to the relationships around you. I don't mean don't watch, your favorite television shows, your comedies. I don't mean don't watch sports. I mean don't watch the news. It's not news. It's just a bunch of actors reading a script, by companies that want you to watch their product, just like a sitcom, just like a drama, just like any movie. They see themselves and they're trying to optimize as much time as they possibly can get of yours, i.e., time of yours means money for them, right? Sponsorships. So at the end of the day, think about it. Think about it. Where are you investing your time and who is it important to? Is it important to you? And the answer is probably no. Spend some more time, maybe read a book, take a hobby, spend some time with your loved ones, spend some time with people you care about. Um, you know, read a book. I don't know, do something besides watch TV. And if you do that for 5 days, I will tell you that you will feel better about yourself than you've ever felt, especially in these last 19 months with COVID. And Lord knows there's a lot to talk about with COVID, but let's not go down that path yet. There's so much more important things we need to talk about. So find a way to take care of yourself first. Find a way to take care of the people around you second. Find a way, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of them. So be a little selfish, take care of yourself, get your mental state, get your physical state, get out, get outside, walk, exercise, ride a bike, do something, get your heart moving, clear your heads. Then work with your local family, work with your family, whoever they are, whoever they, are important in your life, get them involved, talk to them and talk to them. Don't argue with them, listen to them, learn from them, and then work together to move the concept solutions forward. Excuse me. And I think at that point, we've got what we need. And that is, people working together to find solutions for each other. And, it'll start hopefully locally, and then we'll get it to grow and go global. The idea also is, Urban Porch isn't limited just to me. It's not limited just to my geography. There's porches all through this world. There's porches all through our country, through our state, through our community, through our towns. Porch is metaphorical. It could be anywhere. My porch, as I said, is at a Starbucks. Make your porch somewhere fun, interesting, and engaging for your community, and start there. And remember, you're not in it to fight. You're not in it to win. You're in it for everyone to succeed, everyone to benefit, and for everyone to come out of it, feeling that, like Keith Richards, I got a little and I get a little. And that's how you're going to make life work for you. So, I've said a lot, but I'm trying to just lay the foundation for Urban Porch and what I want it to be and what I hope it to be. And what I hope it to be is an opportunity for my fellow citizens, my families, my friends, the human family, the human race, whoever you are, that we all start to come together and we all start working and we all start talking to our government. If you want to talk about, environmental issues, if you want to talk about planet crisis, if you want to talk about, global challenges, those are all things we can do. Gun violence, we can talk about that. There's just so much we can talk about. But if we're not talking towards a solution, we're just wasting our time. And if we're listening to the media, they're corrupting the way we think. They're driving a wedge between us, all of us, race, creed, color, sex, you name it, age, they're driving a wedge through all of us. And I think fundamentally, they're trying to make everybody feel like the pendulum is swinging in one direction or another, depending on your point of view. But as I've said, I've been doing this, I've been listening to the same rhetoric since the 60s. And my buddy down the street, we were talking, and he's 50, I'm 60. And I just said, Jesus, I am so tired of the same freaking noise, the same ridiculous comments, the same ridiculous, positions that people are taking. Fundamentally, it's the same noise, but the government's gotten very good at doing it. And again, I think they're afraid if the government realize the human beings or the families and this planet, this state, whatever, we get together, they're going to have to do what we want, and that scares them. And, we could talk about Trump and what happened with Trump and why he was good, why he was bad. Whether you voted for him or not, you have to have an objective opinion about things. Whether you think Biden's right or wrong, you have to have an objective opinion about things. And you have to give credit where credit is due, regardless of, who you are, what you are, where you are. People, they have done some good things and they have done a lot of bad things. And they've done a lot of bad things in self-preservation. We have to look at our educational system. Why the hell is the number one country, have one of the worst educational systems? And yet here we are talking about free education. What has the government ever done when they've done well? It's just not the role of the government. The government is, for our security. That's like companies. Companies have a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholder. Well, that's it. They don't have a moral obligation. They don't have an ethical obligation. They have a financial obligation. People have moral. People have ethics. So we hope that the companies and the leaders of those companies take their morality, take their ethics, and deploy them inside the organization. But fundamentally, and we've all heard this, power corrupts. Ultimate power corrupts ultimately. And that's what happens. Human beings get control of the power, they get their money, and they forget because it becomes about me. So we have to get rid of the me's and we have to become we's, and we all have to start understanding that we're all in this together. The other thing that I think is also important is people are going to have things that you want. And that's just unfortunate. That's just life. You want them, go get them. Work hard, be dedicated, sacrifice, and maybe you'll get those. But to take them from people, that's just wrong. No one has the right to take from anybody else. No one. Now, when you start talking about taxation, you start talking about income, you start talking about economic equality, totally different subject. But fundamentally, you have the right to work as hard as you want to obtain the things that you want. And when you obtain them legally and ethically and morally, we should all be congratulating you and be learning from you. We should not be envious. We should not be egotistical. We should be, like I said, learning. How did you do it? How can I emulate that? How can I be a part of that group? And I think at the end of the day, if we can focus on these things, then we can start moving the ball forward and we can start building the country that we want. We can become part of a community, a society that we want. We can be the humans that we want. And despite our differences, despite our, whatever drives our differences, we can all find common ground for each other. And I think, again, going back to that's what we need to do. And when you start thinking about Urban Porch, then you start thinking about the people that I meet. I'm not obviously not privy to share their names, but I have, there's a school principal, there's a pilot, there's a stay-at-home dad, there's a retired person, there's a police officer, there's a very famous entertainer, there's a person from the Black Panthers of the 60s, there's myself, there's a couple other people here that sort of escape me right now. But like I said, we have a female basketball player from college. She's now working in IT. So we have a very diverse group. Now we've had people try to join the group and they sit down and there's an assumption that maybe we're pro-Republican or pro-Democrat. And they join us and they start jumping us and start, slamming other people. And the first thing we do is we basically politely remove them because ultimately that's not what this is about. We're not pointing fingers. We're looking for solutions. And we're not interested in just dragging out this discussion of those 60 years. I have 3 children. I have been married to the same beautiful, wonderful woman for 36 years now, and met her in high school. I have a blessed life. I don't need anything. I'd like to see success in my country. I'd like to see more time, more success. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, because I don't need anything. I'm lucky as that goes. I'm not trying to make money here. I'm not trying to get notoriety here. The best thing that could happen for me in this podcast is that all the problems get solved and there's nothing to talk about. But unfortunately, most of what we have for us is individuals that get paid to talk, create problems, to do things that are not problem solving, but problem escalation or fault finding or whatever you want to call it. And I just think that's why we are where we are right now. And so I want to just chat with everybody about that. Excuse me for a minute. So as we go further into this and we have more time together, I think that just trying to check something here, guys. I'm trying to keep these under 30 minutes. I'm not sure how long I've been going. This is my first one, like I said. So this is my inaugural Memorial Day 2021. And I would explain why I did it on Memorial Day. I would explain sort of the origin of Urban Porch. I sort of given my goals and objectives, and that is to, bring together a community for all of us to talk and share and identify problems, and not identify differences, but identify, like I said, problems and solutions. At this point, I just think, I want to reflect a little bit on Memorial Day. I want to reflect a little bit that since I can't remember the statistics, but 1860s maybe or so, over 1 million men and women have died to give us the rights, and the freedoms and privileges. And we need to honor those people, and we need to honor them by doing the right thing. And by doing the right thing, I mean working together, as I said, as a family, and looking for that one solution. Me personally, my family immigrated from Italy. I'm 4th generation Italian American. My family, Giuseppe Luisi, came across, left everything in Italy, and they landed on the East Coast and grew their families. They were in business. They had their own businesses, and my grandfather was a Studebaker dealership, and then my mother married my father, and obviously we, as I said, we migrated east all the way out to the west. And I've been out here since the 70s. And, I've seen a lot of changes in the West Coast. And geez, gosh, not very good, not very good. So yeah, you can tell I tend to lean more conservative, but I'll be honest, I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm a social liberal. And what I mean by that is everybody's free to do whatever they want to do. And, fiscal conservative means don't spend money you don't have. It's pretty straightforward. And right now we're wasting a lot of money. We're burning a lot of cash for a lot of reasons that don't create any value. And I really just think we need to find a way to get centered. And I think we need to figure out the social issues that our country really needs, and our state really needs, and our community really needs. And we need to put our financial resources there, solve those problems. And we also need to be cognizant of, you cannot tax your way out of these problems. There's not enough money out there to tax people. And then, by the way, we've already learned the government is not the most efficient way to, to solve a problem, whether it's financial. And so that's not the people that we want to give our money to. We want to give our people to the money solving the problems. Whether that's a company that's providing higher paid jobs, whether that's a company that, manufactures more in the United States so that it creates more tax base for the communities so that they can afford better schooling, education. Come on, seriously, guys. I mean, how screwed up are we? Have you ever looked at the education system? I'll let you talk to the principal friend of mine. You'll leave that room scared. That's just how dysfunctional our educational system is. And you don't have to think too much about it. Wealthy country, and what do we rank 40th or something? I can't remember how low we are. So ask yourself, how's that even possible? Well, it's run by the government. That's one way. And I'm not saying the government's terrible. I'm not saying the government isn't something that I'm not anti-government. I'm anti-effective government. I mean, I don't feel like they've done a very good job in a lot of different areas. So we just got to get them focused and get them to work on it. Which leads me to, why don't we scorecard the government? Why don't we look at 12, 10 metrics where the government gets evaluated by its performance? Why doesn't the government have to fly on private jets? Why doesn't the government get the same pay for the same work that the private sector does? Why do they think they get something? Why should they be treated special? Because they're the ones that make the laws about themselves. So therefore, they can pretend to be special, but we're the ones, again, allowing them to think that. So we have to get off our butts. We have to turn off our TV sets. We have to get connected with our community, and we have to start getting involved. And in today's world, it doesn't take a lot to get involved. There's emailing your Congress people, your representatives, there's emailing, your school board, there's emailing a lot of different things. And again, I just want to go back to one key point. I'm not here to tell you the answers. I'm here to, like you, be concerned about our country, be concerned about this climate, and be concerned about what the problems are and the solutions could be, and work together as a community and come up with those solutions. And then once we've identified those solutions, help drive them into our government, and then seek their help and their support to bring those into reality. That's where we are today. That's where we need to go today. We need to stop pointing fingers and worrying about differences. We need to start looking at what's common. We need to start looking at how we can work together to solve these problems. So, I think one of my friends, sax player, great guy, gave me, I think, my closing line for my podcast. And as he says it, enough said. Thank you. Have a good night.